Hey, what's going on? Today I'm tackling this controversial topic. Should you jump off the silver train? This is not financial advice. This is from my personal research, and I'm just asking a serious question. Now, we see exactly what's going on in the world today. Inflation, everything around us is costing an arm and a leg. Prices are haywire. We know that the government, the feds are just printing money, printing away, causing everything to go haywire. Now, what can we do in order to protect ourselves from this financial catastrophe that's going around? We see nations going through things that we wish not happen here in the United States, even though we see things firsthand in our households. They always say SHTF, S hit the fan. Well, sometimes shit hits the fan without Armageddon happening. Sometimes things happen in households and people have to make decisions, quick decisions to take care of certain things. So the point of this video was me searching the web and going through some channels that I just subscribed to and some other channels that I watch over the years of me stacking precious metals. Now, I hold no punches. People know from the video I did a couple of weeks ago that I sold majority of my silver because I went through certain financial things I had to take care of. I don't regret doing it, as I think in hindsight, because I had my emergency savings. I'm still gainfully employed, but I had to make sure certain things were taken care of. And the silver was the next thing to go. As I rebuild everything that took me 2 to 3 years, or 2.5 years to 3 years to finish, silver and precious metals was definitely helping me stay afloat and take care of things. And like I said, I'm still employed for the last 15 to 17 years in the same field, and I do pretty well for myself. And I also have my side hustle, which is my hobby turned business, making coin rings, which in fact uses precious metals. So I can't totally jump off the train. Why? Because precious metals I use either in coin form or rounds that I turn into rings. Okay. So, but when I looked in this topic, jumping off the train, it made me look at some members of the community that just put some videos out either a month ago or no later than 2 months ago. And it made me think, let me share this or do a reaction to their videos. All right. So it's a process, just like Mia Coins said. Thank you for coming into the chat, Mia. It's a process, but I think some people have to look honestly. Why do they get into precious metals? Were they convinced, or were they scared to do it, or was it a solid plan that they made prior? Sometimes people had this talk around the dinner table. So they was introduced to metals because it was a family's thing. It was passed down from their grandfather to their father and to them. Some people learned about it a couple years ago, like on YouTube. So they just knew that, hey, I need to grab onto something to put my money into, my fiat in, because, hey, I believe that, guess what? I believe that Armageddon's going to happen and I'm going to need to barter. Well, I think that precious metals should be used to stack your fiat for the future, but you should be able to hold it for long term in order to get the best benefits, right? So Luke Doghouse says, I used to collect coins. I used to collect coins. Now I only have my inherited collection plus a few personal coins. I don't collect them anymore, but use them for craft. And me and Luke Dog's house are in the same boat because he does coin rings and coin art, and I do coin rings. So I do use my opportunity stack in order to create my craft. So in the same, and I still have precious metals for my children and for myself. But should you get off the silver train completely? So let's go over some of these videos that I have. One is from a member of the stacking community, which I like his videos because they're thorough and he expresses his thoughts pretty well. In this video, why I stopped stacking precious metals, has my opinion changed. We're going to go over this video. We also have another video by Treasure Town, and I want to also put that video up as well. But before I do that, I have to be responsible because I'm using people's content. And before you use anyone's content, you have to put this up.
Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
I want to thank everybody who's in the chat right now, and I appreciate you. Hit the like button. It's one thing that I ask if you could for the channel. It helps with the algorithm, and it's free of charge. If you'd like to support the content on this channel, you can send a CashApp at Jtcoinrings, the $ in front. If that is something you would like to do, you don't have CashApp, you can always send as well at jtcoinrings@gmail.com, which is the PayPal. Okay, that's Jtcoinrings at gmail.com. So I appreciate all donations because it helps me to continue to send out giveaways and also keep my prices low. But if not, guess what? The like button will be suffice. Okay, so what we're going to go into is going to this first video, and then we'll do me doing some commentary. He made some good points. I also shared his video in the description below, so you can go check out the full video. Okay, so here we go.
And why I'm currently no longer stacking silver. Now, I want to be very, very clear with you. I believe that silver is still the most undervalued physical asset on planet Earth. And if I had the funds, I would still be stacking silver very aggressively. However, at this point in time in my life, I just don't have the funds to be dumping into silver, unfortunately. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. My family, and I know many of you as well, are getting absolutely smashed with inflation right now. We're really starting to feel it. And, you know, in my mind, I didn't think they would be able to carry it out this long. I for sure thought something would have broken along the way when we saw this insane money printing and this ridiculous Fed policy, but it just keeps going on. And it really is just mind-boggling how they're able to kick the can down the road and no one seems to care. You know, everyone's life is being downgraded. There's no doubt about it. Everyone is feeling it. Now, maybe you are a six-figure earner and you're not really feeling it, but if you're like me and you're part of, I guess, the middle class, you're definitely feeling it. And, you know, this is coming from someone with two incomes, being me and my wife, and multiple side hustles. So at this point in time, it's just, you know, survival. That's how I'm looking at it. And
I wanted to stop it there because he kind of explained exactly what people go through on a daily basis, right? It's not just that, in my opinion, I thought everybody who was stacking precious metals, they must be rich. They must be rich because metals cost, as we see the prices here, gold for spot is $1,977.20. Silver goes for $24.94, and that's spot prices. That's not with the premiums. So when I thought that people showed their stack, they showed what they accumulated over 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And they were making buku money. I was thinking in my eyes because when I started, I was like, whoa, how can you buy $2,000 of precious metals a month? Where is this disposable income coming from? So as this stacker admitted, even with two incomes, he found it difficult to continue through this inflationary period, right? So I wanted to stop it and stress that, hey, even people who work 9 to 5s are in the middle class definitely feels the pinch as well.
My precious metal stack is just that, a precious metal stack at this point in time. I would love to keep adding more ounces to my stack, but I have to think about this logically, and I have to be very strategic in where I am now deploying my fiat. And let me just get into a bit of a backstory of how this all came about. I got into physical precious metals after I realized I might not be getting into a home anytime soon. I was saving for a home for multiple years, well over 10 years. And my goal was to buy a home outright in cash. I wanted to own it. And I didn't want to have the feeling of debt over my head. Ever since I had student loan debts, I made a pact with myself that I will never go in debt like that again, because it is invisible chains being put on the individual. And it's enslavement. There's no getting around it. It is 100% enslavement. And it holds you back from what you truly want to do. And so I made a pact with myself that I will never go in debt like that again. And when it came to buying a home, I looked at that as another form of enormous debt. And I didn't want to take that on, or I wanted to take on only a small amount of it. So I wanted to have a huge down payment that could possibly pay for my home or pay for the majority of my home. Well, what happened, I was saving and saving and saving ever since I got out of college, pretty much. So I was saving for well over 10 years. And then what happened, 2020 came around. And let's be very clear, this was happening prior to 2020. The housing market was taking off because, well, what was going on? We saw artificially low interest rates. We saw the Fed buying up all these mortgage-backed securities. And hey, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. Under Trump, all the money printing was still going on. In fact, he was telling the Fed to keep the interest rates artificially low. Now, I agree with that. I believe that keeping the interest rates low is great because, in my opinion, the money they're creating out of thin air, why is it their right to charge usury on that money? So, yeah.
Another point that he made. One of the points that he made that I did find favor in was that he was saving his money in order to buy his house flat out because he didn't want to be paying the high interest rates. And if anything happened to him at a later time, later in the future, he known that his biggest expense was taken care of. That was smart. But as you see, something changed his course. So he put majority of his money into precious metals. I want to bring up a point that Luke Dog brought up because I think this is an opportunity. Sometimes you can buy precious metals at the best time. So here we go. Luke Dog says, once I scored a monster box. That's 500 silver eagles at a garage sale. Paid $1,200 and silver was $17 an ounce that day. Like 3 weeks later, it skyrocketed to $48 an ounce and I cashed in well. Let me tell you something. That is definitely amazing. So definitely amazing. A good score. And when you have that in consideration, you have to think that was a perfect time for you to buy. So I don't discount that you should buy when the time is right and when you know you're getting a profit or to hold. But when that skyrocketed to $48, you got to think, you know what? This is a good time for me to cash out to gain my profits and maybe put this money into something else. Okay. So now I want to, because he goes on to talk more about things that he did. One of the things that I stress, I like the fact that he realized, hey, I need to stop this because this silver is supposed to be for the future. And secondly, he realized that, hey, I wanted to save my cash and put it into buying a home, which would be my biggest expense. But I put it into precious metals to hold for a long term. And that's what he did. He never talked about selling his silver. He just talked about stopping it right now because he had to put his money into things that were pressing, which were the high cost of living right now. One of the other things I wanted to share is another video by Treasure Town. Treasure Town talked about something that is more in the line of me stacking precious metals. And I wanted to share that video as well because I think he did a good job as explaining it. So we're going to go to Treasure Town and see exactly what his thoughts was on collecting silver.
Despite being a silver stacker, I've been selling some silver, and let me explain exactly why that is. I'm going to be talking about one of the biggest weaknesses of silver, and I'm in a position where it's probably not a good idea for me to be purchasing any silver. So let me explain exactly what I'm talking about. Curious on your thoughts, as always. The silver stuff, there's always some good debate, so feel free to chime in with your thoughts in the comments, and I'll tell you and explain my business journey for why silver is not a good buy for me at the moment. All right, so I've also, for some visual entertainment, have some silver. You can see this barber quarter in 1909D would have been one of the first Denver Mint coins. But today we're going to be talking about why silver is probably not the best for me right now. And if you relate to me in any way, it's probably true that silver is not a great pick for you either. And that circumstance is, do you have a capital intensive business? Do you need your investments to be making money, or the capital that you're investing into different sources to be available, liquid, and basically able to make more money? And in the short term, when I've started to run much more of a coin business as opposed to purely an entertainment channel, the answer has been that silver is probably not the best way for me to park my money outside of.
That's a good point. And I wanted to stop it right there because we know Treasure Town. He has over 100,000, close to 200,000, I believe, probably more subscribers. He's been around for a pretty long time, telling you more about constitutional silvers, eras, also talking about like double dies, and also the numismatic side of coins. He grew up in the coin business, so he kind of started his channel to educate and also to sell his coins. And he realized that he put so much of his finances, so much of his money in silver. And he realized that one thing that I also did a couple years ago, that I put majority of my movable cash in this precious metal, and that kind of keeps you stabilized and not stabilized, unstabilized, because if you need it for something, guess what's going to happen? You're going to sell the silver, and maybe not at the best time. Luke Dog made a point. He said he once scored a monster box of 500 silver eagles at a garage sale, paid $1,200, and silver was $17 an ounce. So he bought it at a good time. He also bought it at a garage sale. That means that person was trying to get rid of that silver, maybe to stack up some funds. So he got a great deal. Just if that person held on for 3 weeks later, the price went to $48 an ounce. You understand? This person could have made out. He had 500 pieces of silver, and it went up over, what, $30? Went over $30. Just over that, this man would have made out, and he would have, been in a good condition. Fortunately, Luke found him and he made out, put his $1,200 back into the bank, and walked off with a profit. Another thing that a good point that Luke made as well, he had an inheritance of precious metals. That comes to you freely, something you can sit on longer because, hey, this was stored and stacked by someone else who passed it along. So you had to have that free profit and that ability to hold something even longer, because you can kind of set it and forget it and only take upon what you need. So that's the benefit of getting it passed along. There's also a benefit of catching it real cheap. And as Treasure Town made a point, he stated that you don't want to put all of your money into the silver because you kind of leave it parked, and you want your money to be mobile, so it's able to do what you need it to do. Okay, let's go on.
Of when I'm purchasing it to trade it, which is somewhat frequent. But I think that one of the biggest drawbacks when it comes to silver, if there's one thing to take away, I try not to like hide this at the end, but then I'll sort of expound upon it as we go along, is, silver does not make anything more. Silver doesn't multiply. It doesn't, yield you any interest. It doesn't provide immediate liquidity. In most cases, there's probably a caveat there, but it's generally not the best store of capital when you need that capital to be available in the near term. So what I mean by that is I've got a bunch of coins in front of me. These were well purchased, but they unfortunately are only going to be worth what somebody will pay for them. And you could probably say, well, doesn't that apply to almost everything? Like, isn't that the case with basically any purchase that you're making? But there's no like short-term interest rate on them. If I was not a business, I have the good fortune, and I mean, I think that it's less luck and more like hard work over a long amount of years, but that I've built up this YouTube channel, which allows me to probably reach more people to sell to than the average person probably can reach. For your average person, if you go and purchase a bunch of silver, best bet is going to have to be to sell that back to a coin shop, and probably smart to call around before you do that to the local areas. By the way, let me know what you think this date is. I think it's 18.
Good point right there. Another thing is this: the beautiful thing about having a channel and having an audience and having community, we are at an advantage. When it was time for me to sell my silver and my gold, I had a community to go to. I had people who did auctions and also knew the value of what I was trying to sell. I also have a good relationship with a coin owner, a coin shop owner. So if I needed something fast and in a hurry, I can go to him. If I needed the ability to sit on a piece for a minute, I could go to the community members who saw that this premium silver or premium gold, they wouldn't fleece me too much on the price. They gave me a fair price for what I gave them. So I didn't lose that much. On some pieces I made out and some pieces I didn't. He makes a good point. Because of his audience, it's easy for him to get rid of certain things when he needs to. And that's the importance of building community and knowing where to shoot, I guess, the silver or gold when you absolutely need it. I'm gonna go to the comments real quick, and Luke Dog's house says, JT, in the next day or two, I'm going to be pulling out the Inherited collection. Check it out then. I haven't looked at it in 10 years and never looked for dates, just sleeved up. That's awesome. So like I said, for something that's inherited, that person sometimes just, set it and forget it. They put it away in a safe. They put it away in a security box, and they know, hey, this is something of value. It can be worth 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and they know that they can bet on this in the near future, maybe 20 years from now, when it's time for retirement, they can pull out for this. So also, Luke stated that Facebook coin groups are great for premium silver sales. Correct. I do have a friend who goes to the Facebook groups, and he buys great deals. And also, when it's time to sell, you have a community who's ready to take those numismatic coins and also those premium series that comes out that may be hard to sell, or you lose money if you go to your coin dealership. Luckily, like I said, you have to build a relationship with everyone, that knows about precious metals, so it's easy for you to get rid of. So the main point of this live stream was not to rag on precious metals, but it makes you think about what is your plan when buying it. Because a lot of people buy precious metals just because it's a fad. You know, I know you may buy the Spider-Man coin, you may buy the Queen's Revenge coins, and everything is hot to come out because it's cool. But are you losing any money? Is it part of your strategy? Is it part of your long-term goal? You have to ask this question, because these trying times, if the money's not coming in fast enough, you're going to lose out, because you're going to be forced to sell or forced to do things that you don't want to do. Everyone doesn't have the six-figure income. Everyone doesn't have the ability to leave $100,000 worth of precious metals and leave it alone when it's hard to put food on the table, to make sure you have a roof over your head. The job may be acting funny. The overtime may have stopped for a year. You don't know. But I always say that you have to have a solid plan. So that's my goal. My goal has to cut down expenses, create my plan. I buy my silver as needed, and I buy my metals for my coin ring business as needed as the orders come in. And I even implemented that if my customers wanted to send their coins in, I would just charge them the labor fee along with the shipping and handling. And that has helped me increase my sales this month for the last 2 months alone. So you have to be creative. So, like I said, this is not financial advice, just people sharing their thoughts on precious metals. And also these channels, like I said, are in the description. If you want to see them in full, Treasure Town and Silver Eagles, I believe his name is inside the chat. His name is, what's his name here? I just want to make sure I get his name correctly. I want you to go to his channel. His name is Silver Star Eagles. There you go. Silver Star Eagles. And you want to go to his channel. All that's in the description below. And the most important thing is be responsible. Stick to your plan. Only you know your finances. No one else knows them better than you. Precious metal definitely has its advantages. You can, you want to save for a rainy day. You want to save for next 5 or 10 years. Buy it, set it, and forget it. Don't worry about these prices. Just, you know what you're using it for. It's a safe haven to where you parking your fiat. It's a safe haven so you're fighting against inflation for a later day. But make sure you allocate your money evenly and plan accordingly. That's the basics of this right here. And that's all I wanted to share. These videos definitely were very interesting, and I'm glad that I ran across them because they helped me a lot. Guys, you know JT. I'm JT Coin Ring, and I sell coin rings. So I want you to stay tuned for this commercial, and I'll be right back.
Take pride in your stack and wear it. Johnson Toe is an American craftsman who could take your favorite coin design and create art that you'd be very proud to wear and something very special to share. JT Coin Rings, handcrafts, handmade jewelry, especially for you.
All right, guys, hit that like button. Make sure that if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Make sure leave a comment, because that all helps future people who watch this video, because I want to make sure that they understand the context of me going out in the comment section and reading it. I want them to enjoy the banter as well. I want to thank Luke, Mia, Xavier. Thank you so much for coming in and leaving comments, coming into the chat. I really appreciate that. And those who are watching on the replay, I will see you in my next video. JT Coin Rings out.